Hello, my family. Today I'm going to actually finish off from yesterday's video on the La Pot growing system when we had to do the hydroponics. I'm wanting to get these started because I really want to start getting some basil, herbs, parsley, cilantro, and a few others I'm wanting to try. I'm wanting to try the wild za'atar oregano, the parsley, one I have not had much success, so maybe I could try it with the hydroponics. Again, yes, my voice is not up to par. However, I feel fine, y'all. It's just getting my voice to work and cooperate. But I don't know if these will work, but Baker Creek, I went and picked up these orange top hat tomatoes. What they are mini tomato plants. Now I have, like I told you, I've always wanted to try a hydroponic system. I actually never really got to it. I had opportunity and I took it because I really do want to try this. A friend of mine from Michigan introduced me to the hydroponics, and I have to admit that I got blessed. Now, I have to say this much. I have been accused of becoming a commercial, and I'm sorry, y'all. That is not my intentions on this video at all. I am not commercial based. I won't ever be commercial based. Occasionally, I may do something like I've said before. I may promote something. It does help me to keep going. And it also, if I feel like it's something that can benefit somebody, I'm not saying it's for everybody. And I also understand, I've been told that this food is not for me. I get that. I understand that at one time in my life, before we got health issues and before we tried to change our lifestyle, this food wasn't for me either. This lifestyle wasn't for me at one point in my life. But as I've grown older, I've known that I wanted to make changes. I don't want to waste my life. And I'm finding that my body and I are enjoying being a homesteader. We are enjoying being able to connect with nature, to be able to connect with God in the way it was in the biblical years many, many years ago. I like what I do, even if it's on a border city line. I love what I do. Gardening and raising chickens and poultry and my eggs and the farming and the homesteading. I love every bit of this because it brings me back to something, a simple life. I don't have to keep up with the Joneses. I don't have to worry about where my next paycheck's coming from, or I don't have to worry about how I'm going to put food on my table, because I know that as long as these two hands till the soil and I plant the seed, we will have something to eat. So granted, y'all, I understand this isn't for everybody. My way of food isn't for everybody. I apologize. But then again, I will say, if it isn't, there are plenty of other videos out there. Maybe you can find something that does suit you. Please don't be nasty on my channel when you leave. It's not necessary. I'm not nasty to anybody else's choice and way of living or eating as well. I have been on both sectors of my life, and I would not condemn anybody, so please don't be nasty to me. I love you anyways. So what I'm going to do is, yes, I'm going to finish with this La Pot so I could show y'all how it operates. Again, I have been blessed. I do thank God, and honestly, you all have helped me to be able to get to this point where somebody had saw what was going on and they thought that maybe I could work at some of their products, and it does bless me. It really does, because now I'm getting to be able to try something even I've wanted to do and see how it works. Is it what I've always wanted to dream, or is it something really that, well, I tried it and it's not for me? Just like the food that we cook, I tried it, well, it's not for me. My lifestyle was, at one point, I was all American Southern. I tried it and it turned out being against me. So how am I going to know unless I even try it? So that's what we're going to do today. Then we are going to make another dish. It's not your normal all-American spaghetti dish. I am making a spaghetti, but in two different ways. The spaghetti that I am learning today is going to be from Naples. Naples, Italy, as a matter of fact. We're going to be making a spaghetti alla natalina. And it is a different type of pasta. Now this pasta is a tomato base in a sense, but it's also have pine nuts, walnuts, kamata, or black olives. But one of the key factors in this recipe that people would probably snarl their nose at, and at one time I would have too, but it's anchovies. Now mind you, don't worry about the fact that anchovies are going in it. It's only 2 to 3 pieces. But you will never taste that fishiness, because what happens is the anchovies will literally melt and dissolve into the sauce, where it leaves nothing but a rich, salty flavor in the background, just a hint, that will enhance this recipe to a bold, beautiful sauce. So that's what we're going to do. Now, granted, I just said spaghetti, which spaghetti in the most terms is under the classifications as pasta. Yes, but in my case, I also have a diabetic husband who cannot have the pasta. So what I'm going to be using with him is I'm going to be using spaghetti squash with the spaghetti alla natalina on top of it. He is going to have that, and I am actually going to have just a portion size, the way I'm supposed to have, not the above portions, but a natural portion size of pasta. And we are going to have a beautiful side salad to go with that for our supper tonight. So we will be doing that after the fact of us doing this hydroponics. So if you're willing to go with me, let's continue on. Now I'm going to work right now with this La Pot, and I'm going to try and angle this camera so that you can try to see me as much as possible. What I will tell you is we are getting ready to do our gardening. Now, when I made choices to go inside this hydroponics, I had to make them carefully. I have 21 cells. My other one, I only have 6. So when I think about that is, what do I use the most? What am I going to use the most? Now, I could literally put bok choy in here if I wanted to. I could put any type of small plant I want to. I could put dill in here or whatever. But the more I just want to add to this, and there's a point I'm getting to, the more I just add to this, I'm taking away from space useful that I absolutely need. Now, I do a lot of Mediterranean food. A lot of my food is from Italy, or it's from Egypt, or it's from Israel. Now, with that consists of certain herbs. I go through a bunch of cilantro, parsley, basil, and oregano. With that, I need to stop and think, how much space do I want to take up and take away from what I absolutely need? That also pertains to every garden. When I first started this 5 years ago, I started gardening and I just grabbed every seed I possibly can think of. What I didn't think about is, am I really going to eat this? I do this every year. I reevaluate from the years past. When I go to do my gardening, I check, because sometimes, just like this hydroponics, I test things. Is it what I wanted? Is it what I'm going to use? And how much space is that going to take away from me? So when I calculated 5 years ago, I grew everything and anything you could think of. Most of it did not grow due to the ground. The other aspect of it is I did a lot of wasting. Same thing I did with my canning. I canned everything under the sun. But at one point, I didn't know that I would not be using products. So I wasted my time, I wasted jars, I wasted products, I wasted growing space, and I didn't go anywhere. Each year, I reevaluate what I grown, what we use the most, what we go through, and that's where I continue from there. One thing I can say we go through a lot is tomatoes. My goodness, we can go through the tomatoes, whether it be tomatoes from the vine, tomato paste, tomato puree, marinara, ketchup. So tomatoes is one of my ultimate things that I have to grow an abundance of in a small property. The other thing that we love is peppers. Now, I can freeze peppers. I might not be able to can them, so they become useful to me in the wintertime when I can't necessarily grow them. So when I start thinking about my garden, these are the things I'm starting to add. Green onions as well. I go through beans. We absolutely love our green beans, so we know that we have to up our game to make sure we have enough for our pantry for an entire winter. Give me 1 second. It's not coffee this time, y'all. I've had my fair share of coffee this morning, and it's in the afternoon, so this is coffee time without the coffee this time. And yes, I had some beautiful tea last night, and I gotta tell you, I have never tasted whiskey-infused honey before, but my goodness, that was so good. So I had me some cinnamon, what was that? A cinnamon apple tea with whiskey, honey, and some lemon. And it did help a little bit on my voice as I could talk a little louder, but it's still horsey. So, and that usually happens, like I told you, I've had thyroid cancer. My whole thyroid was removed and part of my vocal cords were cut. So if I talk too much at a point too, my voice becomes what's called paralyzed, and this is what happens to it as well. So between having, I've had a slight cold and then the horsiness of my talking, it all caught up to me, but it's okay. I'm okay. But anyways, so I'm now thinking, even with these, I have so much space. I actually had 26 spaces, or 27. I want to utilize my space of what I use the most. So for now, if I'm going to test anything, I'm going to test it with what I use the most. And I can always expand later on. That's how I do my garden anymore. And when I go in my pantry, everything that I want to feed my family or to feed me and my husband, basically, we have what we will absolutely use. And I don't waste space. I don't waste food that we will never eat. And if anything, I run out because I don't have enough. And I'd rather have that problem than have the problem of taking up space for something I needed or throwing something away because I never used it. So think about that. Growing season's coming. And we are actually going to sit down very soon and start making our list. We are going to be doing a seed haul. I will tell you that seed haul, 95% of that, we are going to M.I. Gardner out of Michigan. He is an amazing man. He has 100% heirloom seeds. They are reasonably priced. They are something this homestead absolutely loves. We get fantastic produce out of it, and we will be going back. So I will tell you that's where we're going. I'm getting no promotion from them. I'm only speaking from my heart. I find that M.I. Gardner is the ultimate seed distribution company that I will always go to. Now, I will go to Baker Creek occasionally for some of maybe some odd type of seeds like the top hats, but in most part, they're not really to me that reasonable. Now, the difference between the two, Baker Creek will offer you free shipping, and after so many packs, you get a free seed. Where on M.I. Gardner, you have to spend at least $12 to get free shipping. Personally, at $2 a pack with seeds, I could easily spend that $12 and get my free shipping. I may not get a free seed, but that doesn't matter because most of the free seeds I got, I never used anyways, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go where economically friendly for me, where I can get the most for my money. So M.I. Gardner is my choice. So that's where we'll be going. I will be doing a video on that, and when I get the seed haul box that comes in, we will sit down with y'all, and I'm going to work with you on this too. I'm going to be doing some in-depth gardening books, or not books, but videos with you, showing you what we're growing. I'm going to show you the progress. I'm going to show you the things we do. I do have some new equipment that I'm going to learn to work. It's been exceptionally new to me, and it's something that kind of intimidates me. I have a pH meter that was gifted to me by a family member, and so I've got a little other things to try to up my game. I'm going to try not to complicate things because gardening is, gardening should be enjoyable too and not stressful. So I do have to say that we did have an amazing garden last year with our tomatoes. I, for the first time in years, had the most beautiful paste tomatoes ever. And I actually have sauce in my pantry that I have made some gorgeous, beautiful Italian sauce since I learned how to simplify even the sauce to get the best of my flavor. The Mediterranean way is part of that. It is a way of getting simplified foods, enhance your flavor, and not overcrowd it like I have done. I have added so many spices and seasonings that I took away from the beautiful tomato flavor. So I'm learning how to reincorporate how I cook as well. And I want to try new things. I want to be able to try new areas of the Mediterranean. So that's the reason why I'm going to embrace my adulthood, I guess, and learn new things like the spaghetti alla natalina. Even if it has anchovies, I want to see what that tastes like. So I'm going to make that today with you. Let's get on to the hydroponic system. Now, one thing is there is two methods in this instruction book I've noticed, and one of them has an automated system where you have to have a bottle reservoir. Now, I'm not going to do the automated system. I'm actually going to do the manual mode with you on this one. I think it's easier for me to maintain, and besides that, I don't really have the equipment to turn this automated just yet, so manual will work for me. I still get all the information that tells me to watch out for it. Plus, this is going to be in my kitchen. I'll be able to see it always. I'm not just going to up and leave it. So we're going to do the manual mode together with this one. My choice of seeds that I am going to be doing, like I told you, I'm going to be using Genovese basil, and we are going to grow a lot of this. A lot of this goes into my sauces. It goes into my margarita pizzas. I mean, basil is one of the top Mediterranean herbs used. The second top Mediterranean herb used is parsley. Parsley has an amazing flavor that can be stretched, and fresh is always better. There is so much different taste between the fresh and the dried, always. Whether I grew it myself and dried it, it's still different. I am going to be, like I said, wild za'atar. Now, za'atar is used in Israel, Pakistan. They call it Israelis. These type of herbs. Za'atar is an amazing herb, and actually it's a mixture of it. Za'atar is a wild oregano, but there's other mixes into it that makes this flavor for labneh. It pops. It really pops. But this is the most prominent ingredient in za'atar is oregano. Then I'm going to turn around and plant some cilantro because that is the third, just like falafels out of Jerusalem. There is a lot of falafels used in Israeli as well. So we are going to be growing some cilantro along with Mexican food. And now I may still do Mediterranean, but I also like my Mexican food. I love cilantro. Not a lot of people do, and I understand that. Now on the other sides that are not necessary, but I would like to try, now that I got my most important out of the way first, will be the top hat tomato to see how well that done in this unit, because before that it did not do very well in soil. I'll just be honest. I did not have much luck out of these. Maybe someone else has. And the other ingredient is I love having fresh lettuce. Now I also have some arugula, which I absolutely love, that beautiful pepper flavor. So if I have enough space, I'm going to be adding some arugula with some of the slow bolt lettuce that I got from my gardener. So these are my choices. This is the seeds we're going to work with. Now let's get started. So I am actually going to start by doing this. Now let me angle this camera for you so you can watch me how we're going to work this system. Okay, my family, so we're going to raise this up. Now this is here. This front facing here is very flexible, so you don't want to really grab it from that end. You want to grab it from this back side here. There's a pole. Once you get it up so far, I'll raise it there, and then I'll grab this pole and I'll start raising it back up. Now this thing goes pretty high, so you could put a good amount, a good basil plant will fit definitely under here. You've got a couple feet right here. I love that about it. But when I first start my seeds, the rule of thumb is you want your light, whether it's fully grown or by seedling, 4 inches above the plant. So this is going to work with me. We have 2 sections, like I told you. One was the big sections for like a tomato plant or a big plant, or we have our small sections, which that's the one I'm going to be using today. Let me try and angle this around for you so you can see. It's hard to see with this lighting and then with this top on top of it. These are LED grow lights under here, so they are really good and strong. I'm getting ready to actually plug this up in just a minute once we get all of these things out of here. Pull all this tape off of here. I'm actually really excited to try this. I've been intimidated by so many of these type of products before. I've always wanted to, but just so afraid I was going to mess it up. And we went through telling you what all of these were. So these are, like I said, these are the support rods, shade covers, and germination covers. We got your sponges, and then we've got the baskets. Our solutions right here, which we need to put the water in. And we have our stickers, and I'm going to assume these stickers, like, I'm not sure where these stickers go right now. And then we have our sponges, and then our power cord. So I'm going to go through here and make sure all of my packaging is out. And this little box here, this is for the automated system. This one has this little packaging in it. This is where you will put these nutrient bottles if you are doing the automated system. We are not doing that one. Then here at the pump, this pump has a piece of tape. I'm going to take this off. Now I'm going to read the instructions because I have never done this before. I have my power cord here. And I'm taking this from step 1 all the way through. This unit does do Celsius and Fahrenheit as well. I'll put this aside. Now the first says we did that. It was to hold this up and pull it up. And then we were to press here, which we did. Now 2 is to check if the light panel is securely connected to the bottom, and then plug in the power. So let's see, the power should be at the bottom here, the end of this base. Yep, right down here. It's in the back of the unit, so this is where we secure that in there. We're going to plug this in and see how this works. Oops, sorry y'all. Did not mean to do that to you. Okay. Give me 1 second here. Nope, there it went. It just took a few minutes. Okay, so we do have a power button on. Yeah, that just took a few minutes. Alright, so we go ahead and show you this blue little button right there, that light, that was our power button, and it did beep. So in step number 3, it says to fill each bottle with 100 milliliters of pure water and shake to mix them well. Now that is 100 per bottle of these. Now these are dried, you can hear it, and they need to be filled with water so that it will dissolve. Now these cups, they actually have measurements on these cups. It looks like the highest point is 15, and I'm going to assume that's 15 millimeters or milliliters on each one. But I actually have a little shot glass as well. So I'm probably going to be using that because mine will go up to 25 milliliters, and it'll make it a lot easier to put 100 in each bottle. So that would be 4 of these milliliters into each bottle. And then once I get this filled, I will be back and we will go from there. All right, yeah, we have now our 100 milliliters of water in each of these containers of nutrients, both dissolved. Now, I will say the water, even in these that are being used, is actually filtered water or distilled water. We're not using pretty much that from the sink. Now, I did not have enough water for that. Now, I did use it, I'd used bottled water for these. But when it came to having filtered water for the system, I did not have that. So what I did last night, I filled two 2-liter bottles of water, because this one will be no more than 7, preferably 5 milliliters. And I will get to that in a minute. But I didn't have the filtered water for that, so I left it sit out overnight. This way, and it was uncovered. And when you leave your water sit out overnight, it tends to take the chlorine in it and dissipate through your water. So that's what I did. Now, this unit has, I was looking for this and I couldn't find it at first. My husband showed it to me. But it has a max line right here. That's what I want to concentrate, because I do not want to overfill this unit with more water than it needs to. It does say potentially 5 milliliter is ultimate in this unit. So that's what we're going to go based by. Now I'm going to put in at least the first 2 liters in here. The second 2 to 2.5 liters, I'm going to be adding our nutrients. This way it could be mixed and blended all together. I will stir it up a little bit, but I want to be able to add my nutrients in the second half of my unit. Now, if you do not have the little nutrient shot glass like I do that has the 25 milliliter amount on it, you can actually use the ones on the cap. You will go up to the maximum 15 and then secondly put the 10 to get your 25. So I'm going to take, first of all, my 2 liters, and I'm going to add this to my unit. And that's what I have right here. Now this thing will be moved onto my counter, so I'll have to take this very carefully. Once I get this so far, what I'm probably going to do right now, before this gets any heavier, we're going to take you to the counter where this is going to rest, and we will finish this video on that side. We're going to be over toward the kitchen anyway, so let me get you situated where maybe you can see things a little better. Okay, y'all, so you should be able to hopefully see me a little bit better right now, I hope. So I already have, at this moment, 2 liters of water. We're still not nowhere near. So we're going to go ahead and add the other 2 liters in. Now I'm going to actually pour this into a pitcher. And then I'm going to have 1 liter left. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I'll pour this in here. I'm going to make sure that I save back at least a liter's worth. Or, yeah, a liter worth. Because I'm going to have to add my nutrients in that last liter. Now, if you were doing an auto pump fill line, I will tell you at this point, 2 3/4 to 2.5 liters of water will give you the automated fill line. So I'm going with the manual, so I'm going up even higher than this. We'll finish the rest of that. Now for my last half of my liters, I'm going to add that to my pitcher here. Now I'm going to take my nutrients. If I have to add more, I will at that point. Now I'm going to take my nutrients, and my instructions tell me at this point, do not exceed the 7 liter mark, which is that max mark. Let's see. And now I'm going to add 25 milliliters each of A and B into my 1 liter solution. So both of these are now dissolved, and I'm going to be using my 25 milliliter mark or measurement glass right here. Again, you can use the caps with the 15 and the 10 if you didn't have it. And that is for this unit in case you're wanting to use this, or in case you do happen to get it. Now this is nutrient number B. We have that in here. I'm going to seal this off, and now I'm going to go to A. We're going to put A and B into this unit. I think from what it looks like, we're going to be able to get 2 feedings basically out of this. And there's 25 of the A plant food. Okay, now we're going to put these aside and leave that for when we need to fill or feed our plants again. I'm going to circle this around here. And then I'm going to add this into my unit. Not quite there, so now I can finish off with the rest of my... Alright. Go just a little bit more. We do have a filtering system onto our faucet, so I'm going to add that to it. Alright. And that's it. So now I have my water added. That's the hardest part of this whole thing, is actually getting that set up, because the rest of this looks pretty doggone easy if you ask me. So now that we have that, we have this poured into the nutrient well. Okay, so now we put our top on this. Hold on a minute, y'all. Alright, y'all. So here I learned that this has got a max line in here. This is for the refillable watering tank. You want it below the maximum water level, so you want it below that line. This is the cap that goes on the top of that. Now in here are these cells that we were telling you about. This is the baskets that slide inside of here. They look just like this. And in here is the sponges. This is where your seeds go into. Now we're going to go ahead and plant our seeds. I will say these baskets are reusable, they're washable, reusable, but the sponges inside are not. These will have to be replaced always after each use. Now I am going to at this point take and plant seeds in. Each little sponge has a small little hole in there, as you can see. And it is recommended to plant 2 to 3 seeds in each sponge hole. So that's exactly what I am fixing to do. And once I get done with that, we will be right back. Okay, so we went ahead and I put all of my seeds. I have on this section here, I have my basil, my parsley, and cilantro. So we are going to now put the germination covers on. Now, if you did not use all of these sections in here, they do have shade caps that will close off those little holes for you, so you don't have to worry about that. It comes with these little covers like this, just like we would cover up if we were going to be doing, which we will be doing that before long too, is seed starting for the season and grow light or mats and stuff. So these have their covers just like everything else. I'm just going to place all my covers on top of here. And then we're going to go ahead and start setting up our system. Now I will tell you, I did forget to tell you, the water that you put in here, it states to use cool water. It does have a thermostat, so it will heat the water up on its own. have never done this. This is exciting in a way for me, just to learn something new. Okay, I think unless I missed something here. I'm missing some of my covers. I've got 4 covers. Not unless they're in another bag, but I have 4 covers missing on this one. So if I have to, I'll cover it up with some saran wrap. That is another option. It doesn't look like I got these, so unless they're in another packaging, let me take a look right quick. That would be a downfall otherwise. Unless some of these, hang on, let me see if I got more than one. Because that can happen too. They are connected together. Yeah, okay, that's it. Never mind. They stuck together. I just got to find all those that stuck together. There's one. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. I just got to find all those that are stuck together. Oh. I got one more to find. Let me go through and find that one last piece. All right, my family, I found them. Now, these also come with what's called support rods. They will go into these holes, and this support rod is what will help your plants to grow up on top of, like the little tomato plant that I'm fixing to have. You put one on each end here and hold your plants up as a baseline. I think that's pretty cool as well in this. Now, I don't need this right now, but that is an option that we're going to be able to do, which I actually like. Okay, so now that we've got this, we got all of those covered. The next step, I guess, here is turning on our system. So we do have it turned on. Let's see here. Let's go ahead, and we've got, let's see. Aha. Let me take you to show you this right quick. When you turn the power button on, this here is your water level. This here should be the lighting, I think it is. So I'm going to have to check on this one. This is showing at 18 degrees Celsius, so I'm going to have to learn how to change that to Fahrenheit. This is days of growing. We are at 0 as we are just starting. This is the brightness, and it's showing off. See, okay, so now I'm at Fahrenheit, and it is 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, that's Celsius. That's Fahrenheit. I'm going through this with y'all, so this is the time and date that I could set it for. Let's see. Flowers and fruit, vegetables and herbs. That's what we want. Pump is operating. Now I have to figure out the light system, so give me a moment on that one, because it's showing lighting, but I'm not seeing the light on. So we will be right back with that one. Okay, y'all, so in order for the lighting is, I had to touch the base. I had to figure this thing out. I thought it was easy as that, but it's not. So I had to touch the base a little bit. Then I readjusted my height to the pods, about 4 inches, as close as I can get. Now on this one here, I did set the time for where we're at right now. It is going based by military time, by the way. It is set on manual. Now the pump is on operating, which means it will pump about every 30 minutes or so. It does have this feature where it'll look like your power just went out, but it hasn't. This thing will actually shut down a little bit. unless you hit the power button right quick, just a quick tap and your screen will come back on. It does have your brightness that you can adjust right here, the time for your time on, time off for your lighting, and then your Fahrenheit, which is up here, and your water heats up by this unit. So as you see, it just went out because it's got a timing, just like our phones. It'll shut down, but it's still working. I mean, I could still see the lights and all, so it's still working. I take a quick tap and it comes back on. So that goes off automatically itself. Let's see how things go. I will be doing some update videos as we go along for the next 28 days and show you in between how this thing is working, how our plants are growing, and we'll see how this goes. The next step here is we're going to be going to the kitchen and we're going to cook. We're going to do what I know the best. Unfortunately, with something like these are new. I don't know much about it, so I'm learning with you. But in the kitchen, I can sure put a meal on. So that's where our next step is. Okay, my family, so it is now evening and I am fixing to prepare our supper. So I told you this was a different type of pasta. We are going to Naples, actually, Naples, Italy, and we are going to be making a spaghetti alla natalina. And what it consists of is 11 ounces of spaghetti, although I am not going to be doing that. I am going to be doing a single serving. So that would be 2 ounces of spaghetti noodles. And yes, I did weigh it because I am wanting to stay conscious of how much I eat properly, unlike I used to. It's going to adjust my body, but if I'm going to do Mediterranean, I want to do it where I can first, number one, lose weight slowly or maintain better. So I can lose weight, I just have to do this the right way. So that's what I choose to do. I will be putting this recipe in, or the link to this one. This is from a Italian chef, and he is just as much amazing as Pasta Grammar. So I'm going to go ahead and link that recipe too. But we're going to work on this together. So I'm using 2 ounces of spaghetti, which this is heating in my pot right now. The salt has been added. And I am going to actually add this in just like this, the way it's supposed to be, Italian style. Now, I am not using a thick-based pasta. I am actually using angel hair pasta. So I'm just going to get this to come down and then bring this to my pot, just like so. Now we're going to let this cook for about 10 to 11 minutes or so. Now, while that's cooking, we're going to go ahead and start our sauce. I'm going to start on medium-low. We do not want this high heat. I'm going to put my base of olive oil inside. And I'm using about 5 to 6 tablespoons of olive oil in this. Once I get this heated up, I'm going to be adding 2 cloves of garlic that are minced. Once I get those in there, I am going to saute them up a little bit, but I'm going to show you a way that I learned how to keep your garlic from burning. So let me go ahead and get this heated up, and then once I get this heated up, we'll be right back. Okay, y'all, so now we got our oil heated up. We're going to be adding minced garlic. We're using 2 cloves of minced garlic. Now this is basically for like 2 people, this recipe. Now to keep your garlic from, you definitely want to put this on low, but to keep it from burning, you just add just a tiny bit of water to this. This way it keeps your garlic nice, tender. I just learned this, and if I'd have known this a long time ago, it would have been easier for me instead of always burning and bittering my garlic. It actually works. Now I'm also at this point going to be adding 3 fillets of anchovies. Again, It sounds strange to be putting anchovies inside of a garlic pasta, but these will not stay in there. They will be disappearing. Got one. Two and three. Now this is going to cook down in here, and this will pretty much dissolve in here. I'm going to heat it up, get these hot, break them up. This will take about 5 minutes or so to break up these anchovies until they completely disappear. And I can smell, it's going to be a bold flavor, that's for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cooked down, and just before they're finished, I'll come back to show you how they dissolve in all this. Okay, as you see, this anchovies are now starting to dissolve pretty much into olive oil and garlic mix. I'm also going to, at this point, you would add a red chili pepper. I don't have the red chili, so I'm just going to take about a pinch of red chili flakes, and I'm going to add that to my sauce. This is what I call improvising on a homestead with what I have from my pantry and making the recipe that I would like to have. Our anchovies are pretty much almost blended completely in here so that we can finish off the next steps. You know, I never thought anchovies actually melt, but they do. They actually do disintegrate in here. I'm going to add just a little bit more water to this. We'll finish this off. And now what I'm doing, I'm also pressing this as we go along to break them apart. That way there are no whole pieces of anchovy in here. Okay, so now the next step is, it calls for a handful of pine nuts, 2 or 3 ounces of walnuts. Now I don't have any pine nuts, but I have pieces of walnuts in here. We're going to add that. I don't have any capers, so we're going to eliminate capers, but capers are actually optional. Now it also calls for a handful of sultans. Sultans are actually like golden raisins. I'm actually going to replace golden raisins with 50% less sugar cranberries. I'm just going to make a small amount in here. I'm going to mix this together. Now I'm going to add 9 ounces of cherry tomato halves. Now I'm going to let these cook because we're going to want to crush these tomatoes. We want to turn this into a sauce. So we're going to have to let this cook, and I'm going to have to add some more water to this. We're going to let this cook down, and once they're cooked down, we're going to come back and break down the juices of these tomatoes. So as soon as I get that done, we'll be right back. Okay, so now we got our tomatoes where they're nice and soft, so we're going to crush the juice out of them, just like so. At this point, it calls for 3 to 5 tablespoons of passata. Now, passata is actually like for those of us here in the United States, it's actually like tomato puree. It's uncooked, basically, tomatoes that are milled or crushed. So you could use crushed tomatoes, or I'm actually using puree. So I've got about 5 tablespoons of puree that I'm adding. And I'm going to mix that into my sauce. Now I'm also going to be adding a handful of halved olives, black olives. I'm using calmatas. And then I'll be adding some fresh chopped parsley. I'm going to let this cook for a minute. We'll get our parsley, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. Okay, y'all, so now our sauce is a little bit thick. At this point, this is where I'm going to add some pasta water to this. Pasta water also gives it its gleam. It also gives it some of its body, too. Now at this point, this is when I would normally add my pasta into my sauce and allow the sauce to absorb all the juice. But unfortunately, we are going low carb one side and then regular pasta on another. So I'm going to go ahead and turning this off. I'm going to go ahead and just dress it now with my parsley on top. I'm going to serve our plate, and when I come back, I will show you how our spaghetti alla natalina turned out. And we will be right back. Okay, y'all, and that's the close-up. Now, this is like really close up to you. But we have our side salad, and then we have our spaghetti alla natalina. Now, I am going to, that's with the pasta. I am going to be making hubby's plate now, and I am going to be using his as spaghetti squash for this. So this was our plate for the evening. I'll be right back. All right, my family, so we are getting ready to serve our supper. I will be putting again the link into the La Pot or Let Pot if you would like to look at it for yourself. It doesn't have to actually be this model. They do have other products, and I will put that in the link also for you. It is totally up to you what you would like to do. It's an introduction that I thought was pretty cool. I get to try something I've always wanted to know if it's worth it myself. So again, I will put that in the description. I'm also going to be giving you the link to this recipe if you want to try it as well. I am learning to try different areas of the Mediterranean, more food differently, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. As a matter of fact, I have, you've seen that I've had the Mediterranean dish cookbook. Well, I now have Israeli soul cookbook. So I look forward to learning a bunch of new different foods from these. To me, it's flavorful. It's fun. It's fresh. And that's what I like to do. Now, I know not everybody is going to, like what I make. And I'm okay with that. I don't expect you to, honestly. So I am going to now sign off, and with that, I love you all very, very much, and until next time, much love to each and every one of you from Parton's Heritage Homestead.